Hello everybody, welcome to the second episode of Dave Time, a solo podcast which is hosted by, me, Dave, this guy. Hi, how are you? But this is the second episode. I was actually very pleasantly surprised at how, well the first one did, all things considered. So far, it is actually my most liked video on the channel, standing at, well, when I last checked at least, 4 likes. Which is good. I appreciate the support. Usually most of the videos I get on this, most of the likes I get on this channel usually stand from like 1, maybe 2 if I'm lucky. But, 4, it's like unheard of for me. So, I figured people really like this podcast, so I figured, hey, I'll make more of them. Gotta give the people what they want, I guess, right? Yeah, this is, this is episode 2. I went back and listened to the first one, and there were some things that I did editing-wise I didn't really like, so I'm probably gonna cut back on the musical. Well, maybe not cut back on the music, but I'll probably make it way, way lower than I usually than I did in the first one, because there were just points where I could hardly hear myself over the music. But, so hopefully, I'll be able to fix that. And there's also gonna be some other weird tricks and stuff going on in this episode, so hopefully you guys, enjoy it. Also, I should mention that there are a couple of segments in this podcast where, I don't use my regular microphone and instead use my phone as a mic, so I apologize if there's any noticeable drops in quality in some places. In fact, there was one of these phone segments, I'm outside, so you might hear like birds and stuff. I don't know, maybe you might find it relaxing. I don't know. But, yeah, I guess I think that's about everything I wanted to cover. All of the recordings that you're about to hear range from about mid-August to about mid-September. About mid-September or so. So, yeah, with that in mind, sit back, relax, enjoy the show, listen to it in your car, in your house, when you're going to bed, when you're, I don't know, whatever you do when you listen to podcasts, enjoy it, I don't know. I'm gonna make a joke here, but I'm bad at improv comedy. Alright, yeah, just enjoy. This is episode 2, and we are gonna go right about now.
These men come down here from New York and from Florida to find out my reasons on rock and roll music and why I preach against it, and I believe with all of my heart that it is a contributing factor to our juvenile delinquency of today. I 100% believe it. Why I believe that is because I know how it feels when you sing it. I know what it does to you. And I know the evil feeling that you feel when you sing it. I know the lost position that you get into in the beat. Well, if you talk to the average teenager of today and you ask them what it is about rock and roll music that they like, and the first thing they'll say is the beat.
So tonight I've been on like a binge of sorts. Particularly a binge of old video clips from the 1980s of pastors and concerned parents freaking out over rock and metal music. And let me just say, if you haven't seen these clips yet, it is some of the funniest goddamn shit you'll ever see in your life. It is both hilarious and also kind of depressing at the same time. Especially when you look at it through the lens of today's modern culture and stuff. I mean, my god, people think, like, the younger generation today is soft. Like, these people, back then, were, like, getting offended by Kiss, of all bands. Kiss! Like, Kiss is, like, one of the most vanilla bands you could possibly get offended by. Like, honestly, do you really think your kid's gonna get corrupted while listening to Rock and Roll All Night or something like that? Like, you know, that song? Where it's basically just, like, the same, like, chorus over and over again, practically? Like, it's just, ugh, God. Ugh. You know, and then you have these other people who are often preachers who go on these talk programs and, like, you know, probably on, like, public access or something, who will then, like, play, like, a Led Zeppelin song or something backwards and, like, think they're, like, praising the devil or something. Like, they'll play, like, a song back, and then, like, they'll, you know, you'll listen to, like, the lyrics of mainly just gibberish, and then you'll hear something that maybe might kind of sort of sound like the word Satan, and then they'll just freak out and be like, oh, there it is, that's it, they're praising the devil, oh no, oh, think of the children, oh, like, it's just, like, it's just so funny, and, you know, and then, like, you get these, you know, some of these other people who will go on, like, other talk shows, like, for instance, I watched, Guar's appearance on, Jerry Springer. And let me tell you something. For those of you who aren't familiar with Guar is a heavy metal group who is largely known for, like, its very outlandish aesthetic. Like, they always, like, you know, they always show up in, like, these big, like, super sci-fi inspired, like, costumes and stuff, like, that make them look like big, like, scary looking monsters or something. Their concerts are notorious for being, like, very messy, and by messy I mean, like, you know, getting, like, just walking out of, like, the venue by the time the show is over just covered in, like, fake blood and guts. It's all, you know, it's all good family fun. Bring the kids. You know, like, they went on Jerry Springer, and they just, like, you know, they were being asked all these questions, and they just took the piss out of almost the entire show, and it is fantastic.
What about the portrayal of you ripping a fetus out of a pregnant woman?
Yay! Yeah!
What about
like, because see, bands like Guar know that this whole panic over, like, rock and metal music was like like the arguments against that kind of music was largely just horseshit, basically. And it's like, man. And there was this one guy. Who honestly kind of depressed me. There was this one guy. You know, from what the looks of it, pretty regular looking dude, and he, I don't know. I think he might have just been, like, depressed or something, and, like, what he did was that he. I don't know, like, I don't know, he was kind of, like, starting to become religious, like, he was depressed and, like, all that, and he thought, like, his music and stuff, I guess he thought his own music tastes were, like, corrupting him, so what he did, you know, in an attempt to, like, start his life over, essentially, was that he went out to, he took his big music collection, and, like, I saw this collection, and it was filled with a lot of, like, really cool stuff, like a lot of cool albums and all that, like, you know, records, tapes, you name it, he had them. And it was like, it all added up to something like $22,000, basically. And, like, what he did, he took his $22,000 music collection, took it out to some field or something in, like, Texas, and just burned it all. Like, dude. Like, imagine burning, like, $22,000 of your own music collection. I mean, of course, nowadays, a lot of people just, you know, just resort to, like, streaming sites for their music, which, you know, is fine, but, like, you know, I mean, there's nothing quite like it, you know, actually owning the record, you know, like, you know, just having it. You know, which is why I'm glad vinyl made a comeback in recent years, so that's cool, but... Yeah, I digress. Yeah, this what kind of got me thinking about this also kind of reminded me of one instance where Jello Biafra, who, if you don't know, is the lead singer of the band Dead Kennedys. Or at least he used to be. He's not anymore. The group Dead Kennedys is still around, but it's not the same group as you might be thinking it is. They have a new vocalist. It's not even the same band. It was all because of a legal dispute. That's like another rant for another time. But basically, Jello Biafra, he was charged for I think it was like the distribution of harmful matter. And this was back in like the mid to late 80s, I think. I don't remember exactly when this trial took place, but it was like this big trial of like in regards to him and like the record that he just recently put out with Dead Kennedys, and it is like, and oh my god, and he tells a story on one of his spoken word albums. It was a High Priest of Harmful Matter. That was the album that he talks about the trial a lot, and I might link it in the description. If I can't find the YouTube video of it, I'll just link the Spotify version, since it is on Spotify. Go check out Jello Biafra's spoken word stuff, by the way. Really insightful stuff. A little dated at some points, since it was, I mean, it's a little bit dated due to some of the stuff he talks about. Like, not like, bad stuff. He was mainly just talking about like how bad the Bush administration was. But yeah, go check out Jello Biafra stuff, and I'll link his story about the trial of his in the description, because he does a way better job of telling it than I ever could. So go check that out. It is some gnarly stuff, and it's hilarious too. So yeah. So I'm hitting a bit of a conundrum as of late. Today, is August 28th, 2020, and today, I woke up at approximately 2:30 in the afternoon. I hate my sleep schedule so much, and the thing is, it takes me a long time to fix it, especially when I'm in such a weird, lull such as this, with the quarantine and stuff, and not really having much of anything to do. That mixed with, I don't know, some depression and maybe some other weird issues thrown in, that, it can be hard for me to adjust to sleeping, and when I can get to sleep, it's great, but then when I wake up and I realize how much of the day I wasted, I'm like, damn it. But then again, how much of that day would I really use productively, is the question. I mean, I haven't even put out anything on the YouTube channel as of late. I haven't been working on the Let's Play at all. Which, I mean, maybe doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, as that doesn't really get that many views anyway. I don't know. I'm starting to think that maybe the Half-Life Let's Play was probably going to be the last one on the channel. I might have to rethink how I'm going to do content on here. But that's another thing. I keep thinking I hear somebody, but it's probably just like my dog or something. Yeah, I'm not really quite sure what else to say. I just wanted to get this recording out there, so, yeah. Sleep sucks. Well, actually, no, sleep doesn't suck. It's just, it's very hard to not achieve. I don't know. I think I might be an insomniac. think that might be what it is. But who knows. So today I've just been been walking around in like this weird daze, like some weird mind state. And I think a large reason for that is drumroll depression. Hey! Such a nice thing to have, isn't it? Actually, no, it's not. But yeah, I don't know. I've just been feeling kind of depressed today. And the worst part about it is that I'm not even really entirely sure why. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that, last night, I had yet another panic attack, so that's not fun. Like, it wasn't even that bad compared to others I've had. Like, back in January of this year, I got a really, really, really bad one that actually, I think was so bad that it actually ended up sort of affecting me throughout the first half of this year, as if 2020 didn't get off to a bad enough start. At least for me, anyway. But, like, you know, and, like, the worst thing about it is that, you know, with panic attacks, you don't really know, a lot of the time, at least in my case, you don't really know what caused it. It's another instance of your subconscious just essentially just fucking with you, and it's not fun. It sucks, and you want to yell at your subconscious, but at the same time, you don't know what it's really doing, so you don't really know how to stop it, and then you get medication, and sometimes even that doesn't even really work, and I know this because I had medication for it, and, like, only one of the pills kind of worked, and then the others just didn't do anything. In fact, if anything, it just made it worse, because they gave me really bad headaches, like, so bad to the point where I would, like, pass out. Well, not, like, pass out, but, like, it got to the point where I had to, like, go into bed and, like, sleep it off. Like, it was that bad. And, like, usually I never get headaches that bad. So, yeah. So, that's something. I don't know. I just wanted to... I don't know, it's just been bugging me all day today, and I just wanted to vent it, I guess. Thank God for this podcast, because, you know, at least here it doesn't feel like I'm screaming into a void, unlike those journals I had where I would just write to myself, and all who could really read it is me, which had its advantages, sure, but, you know, sometimes it could just be nice to have other people just kind of hear it, and maybe in some way relate to it. Maybe? I don't know. But, yeah. I don't know. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the outdoor portion of this podcast. Yes, I say outdoors because I'm literally outside. I was taking a walk, in the woods behind my house. And, you know, now I just decided to sit down on this little tree trunk here, and I wanted to record a little segment for the pod. I wanted to take this time to talk about motivation, and how it affects me in weird ways. I discussed this in, episode 11 of, the Half-Life Let's Play. Well, I didn't really discuss it, I just kind of, like, I just sort of mildly mentioned it and then just moved on. But I haven't really had any real motivation to upload anything in these past couple of weeks. And, you know, and I think a large part of that was just because I was in a bit of a funk. I was depressed. My sleep schedule in particular has been absolutely, completely fucked. And, you know, like, I'm lucky if I wake up before, like, 2 in the afternoon at this point. Like today, like, it's 4:30 now, I woke up at 3. I woke up at 3, and then I went down, you know, and then I hung out for a bit, and then I just went for this walk, and now I'm recording this. This has basically been my day so far. It sucks. It sucks. And I hate that things have to be like this, but that's another thing for a different time. You know, I was thinking about maybe, like, doing, like, a super episode about... Well, now that I think about it, maybe that won't... Maybe that's such a... I don't know, I feel like that could... If I'm not careful, that could just kind of not go anywhere. I was thinking about maybe doing, like, a super episode of the pod about depression and stuff, but, you know, I don't really, like, I don't know how to talk. I'll just stop now. Well, at least about that particular subject. But yeah, motivation. That was what I was originally going to talk about. Anyways, yeah, I was discussing about how, about, you know, my lack of motivation and stuff. And, after I uploaded those 2 videos yesterday, today is, the 4th of September, 2020, is the day I'm recording this. Soon after I uploaded those videos, I went and I had a discussion with my therapist, and, you know, and he said something along the lines of, hey, you know, you uploaded those 2 videos, you know, that was accomplishing something, and, you know, and to some that might sound a little weird, since basically all I'm doing in those videos is just talking into a microphone and playing Half-Life for 20 minutes, but, you know, to a certain degree, I think he's right. I mean, there are times where I do like going on my phone and checking my YouTube Studio app and just looking at my analytics. I mean, as unimpressive as they are, obviously. I mean, the view averages that the Let's Plays get is like 2 to 3 views now, maybe 4 or 5 if I'm lucky. Yeah, I think I might have mentioned this before, but I think Half-Life may very well be the last Let's Play, at least the last actual Let's Play of the channel. Once that's done, I might need to pivot my content a little bit. To what direction, I don't really know. Maybe more like edited content with, you know, maybe more stuff with friends, I don't know. But, you know, just stuff like that. And, but that's beside the point entirely. But basically, yeah, like, it's, but to me, motivation, like, I mean, that's pretty good motivation, because, like, you know, every time it feels like I upload a video, no matter what it is, it feels like I'm, like, you know, I'm working towards something. What that thing is, I'm not exactly sure, since, I mean, I don't really expect this channel to get, like, super big, but, you know, it's something, you know. I mean, I have 10 subscribers now, and for the long time, I only had, like, 4 subscribers, which was kind of like a running joke with myself I had at the time. But, you know, now I have 10. And I remember back, I think back when I was doing the Mario 64 Let's Play, I was talking about, like, yeah, once I hit 10 subscribers, that's it. I'm ending the channel. I don't know. A part of me almost kind of wants to do that for the sake of the joke to run its course, but yeah, I don't think I want to do that. But it is kind of funny how things turned out, though. But, you know. But again, it does feel like I'm working towards something. I don't know if it's just fulfillment or what, but I don't know. It feels, I guess it just sort of feels nice to complete things that I like doing. You know, and I like uploading to the YouTube channel and stuff. Granted, I wish it was kind of getting a bit more numbers and stuff, yeah. But you know, for what it is, I mean, I'm having a good time. You know, I mean, I expect the last podcast did pretty well, so I'm hoping maybe this will do equally as well. So, I mean, oh, okay, I gotta get back on track. Motivation. I'm going off. I haven't written anything for this. I'm just going off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm in the woods. I don't have anything to write with, except for my phone, which is almost dead. So maybe I should wrap this up. But then again, Androids have pretty long battery life, so I'm not really super concerned. But, but the thing with motivation, too, is that I've noticed that motivation to do things, especially when it's on, like, a large scale, like, when I was in school, I think I've talked about this before, but when I was in school, especially towards the latter half, I was dealing with a lot of anxiety issues. And a thought just occurred to me yesterday of the times when my anxiety are the absolute worst is when I have any sort of sense of optimism for the future. Like when I was in college, I was thinking like, okay, after I'm done doing this, like, I'm going to go out into the world and make a name for myself and, blah, 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 blah. But as the weeks went on and on and on, that optimism turned into fear, anxiety, and just straight up me being angry with myself as to, oh God, why did I think I could do this? Dave, you fucking suck. Like that sort of thing. And like, so I feel like I almost kind of have to limit myself with the motivation because I don't want to, like, overwork myself and stress myself out. Like, that's the thing. Well, I mean, maybe that's just a human nature thing, but I don't know. For me in particular, I feel like it's particularly bad because, like, the anxiety I had in my school, I had it when I was in college, was really, really bad. So I just don't want to repeat of that in regards with this YouTube channel, especially given how small it is. If this channel ever somehow ends up getting big, I don't know how that'll happen, if it ever does, but, I don't want to, like, go down that path again, so I feel like I need to be really, 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 really careful with how I handle this, even with how small the channel is. I mean, I don't want to, like, how, like, in the beginning of The Simpsons, where, like, in the intro, Homer has that, like, weird little radioactive, like, bar or something that he sort of carries around in, like, his shirt that he doesn't realize. I feel like my channel's kind of like that. It's small, maybe it seems inconsequential to some, but for me, it can be like, oh God, if this turns out horribly, this could be bad. Like, so I feel like I need to be really careful with how I conduct myself with this channel. Not, like, from, like, a content perspective. Well, yeah, like, not really from a content perspective, but from, like, a content development standpoint, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I don't want to work myself up into, like, this weird little ball of anxiety and fear and whatever, simply because I'm motivated, Which again, and I almost don't want this channel to get really big. Honestly, if it does get big, I would like it to get big in the same way that the channel New Legacy Inc. is big. Shout out to New Legacy Inc. and, Johnny, Duel, Jericho, Slip, all those guys. You guys are cool. You guys are cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they'll ever listen to this, but, it's whatever. But, New Legacy Inc., for a long time, they had a pretty sizable following. I mean, I was watching them since, like, 2012, and I don't remember exactly how many subscribers they had in 2012, but, just recently they hit 100K after so many years. And, like, the thing is, they just kind of upload whenever. And, I feel like they don't really take it too seriously, which is good. I mean, they take it seriously, like, enough to, like, do, like, charity events and all that, but, they just kind of do whatever, whenever, which is kind of like a model that I kind of want to do, and it helps that, they seem very supportive of, it helps that they seem very supportive of one another, and their fan base is pretty cool, and, like, I'm just saying, like, if my channel gets big, I'd like it to be, like, that big. Like, not, like, super big, but big enough where, like, I can have, like, a good following and also, like, not have to worry myself about, like, when and how I put out videos because, since, yeah. I've been going for like almost 12 minutes now with this recording. Damn. Alright, well, my phone's almost dead, so I think I'll just end this segment here. But I think this was a good talk about motivation, I think. I hope you guys liked it. I hope the wind wasn't too bad, or any crickets or anything that you might hear. Again, I'm in the middle of the woods, so yeah. And I think I'll just stop here. So, something occurred to me last night that I actually kind of really... Well, it didn't really occur to me last night. It's sort of been like a thing that's been following me for like a good portion of my life, at least ever since I was like a little kid. And it's the subject of filters, or having a filter, or something like that. And how having a filter throughout most of your life can affect a person. And meaning usually yourself, but yeah. You know, I mean, I've always considered myself a person that has always kind of had a bit of a filter throughout most of their life, and kind of use it as almost sort of a detriment. I mean, you know, when I was like a little kid, it was always kind of drilled into my head at a young age, like, you know, oh, you know, don't say bad words around your parents, you know, bad words are bad, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I think from a result of that, I like, from like age 6 or 7 to about, 18, I like rarely ever swore, like in general. Like, even when I wasn't around my parents, like, you know, when I was in school, whatever, I rarely ever swore. And if you don't believe me, you can ask anybody that I knew at that time. They can tell you. But you know, it was just something that's always kind of been. It's always kind of stuck with me in a weird way. Even then, I just never really liked it. But for some reason, I was just always too afraid to break out of that. Obviously, you know, when I was 18, I did kind of let loose a little bit, you know, at least when I was at my job, or when I eventually got to college, especially, I decided to, well, take a lot of that filter off and decide to be a bit more of myself, because I feel like, and I'm not saying like swearing and anything like that is like a personality, but I feel like it sort of allowed me to express myself more when I was able to do it freely, you know. But you know, like, it's not like I took every single opportunity to do it when I could. You know, again, it's not a personality trait, but you know, when it was able to serve me, it was nice. It was nice to be able to have. But you know, now that I'm, you know, but that was back when I was like, you know, sort of a semi-independent adult, and now that I'm back here living with my parents, that filter has sort of come back to me again. And the thing is, you know, I'm an adult, and I mean, there have been like a couple of occasions where, you know, I've sworn around my parents, but like, even then it feels kind of weird, and I didn't really get in trouble for it. It was just sort of a thing that happened in certain situations where I guess they found it sort of understandable, but even then, still, I don't know, I guess it's just sort of that instinct from when I was a kid. And the problem is, now that I have this filter back again, it feels like now it's having an impact on like the type of content that I want to make. Because, you know, like, I'll have this idea for a video, and I'm like, oh, that would be cool, but, you know, I gotta be careful because, you know, this house's walls and stuff are pretty thin. I'm afraid if one of my parents overhears me, I'm probably going to be having to ask questions. It's the worst when I'm in like Discord calls with friends and stuff, because it's the worst when I'm in like Discord calls with friends and stuff, because like, you know, we'll be talking for a bit, and then like, you know, sometimes we get to joking about like, you know, kind of like, you know, weird stuff, and
you know, and I'm afraid that if I get in on it, like, I'm afraid that I'll say something that to people living with me will sound out of context, and again, I really don't want to, I don't really want to answer questions that I don't really want to answer, because, you know, it's my friends, it's my business, you know, whatever. But, you know, that's a different thing. Basically, I'd like to be able to get my own apartment. Problem is, I mean, especially with the rate that things are going, that might never even happen. I don't know. And, you know, and it's not just me either. This is going to be a thing with a lot of people in my age group. You know, it's like, I mean, there's a variety of different reasons for this, and if I went into that, it would be, you know, I feel like I could probably fit that into like an entirely different video, but, you know, it's depressing because, like, we're gonna be having a whole generation of adults that probably won't be able to have the full experience of being an adult, which, well, maybe, I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's kind of what it's just kind of what it feels like. So, yeah, it's just, and you know, it's like, it's one of those issues that's, you know, it's not really an easy solution to it due to a variety of different factors and all that. And, you know, I mean, maybe one day, if I scrounge up enough money, you know, maybe I'll get my own place finally, but, you know, I think that'll be a question of, you know, whether or not this whole quarantine thing ever fully gets fixed. You know, if we ever get out of it. I'm seriously beginning to question whether this will be, like, a permanent thing. Like, we have essentially normalized just working from home and just having this just be a regular thing now. I mean, not that it's necessarily a bad thing, you know, you shouldn't get other people sick, but, like, you know, it's just, I feel like we're kind of setting a precedent that is going to be very hard to turn from in the next few years. It's gonna be a weird time, and I don't know if anybody's gonna really enjoy it. But that's just me. Yeah. I guess I just kind of I don't know how a rant about filters turned into a rant about, well, not really it was sort of like a mini rant about economics, but you know, especially in a pandemic age, but yeah.
So, given the state of the world as it stands today, along with the fact that I've been cooped up in my house for the better part of a year now, I believe it is time for me to officially confess something. I am officially Truckpilled. Now, what does this mean? Well, it essentially means that trucking sims have taken over my life. Honestly, this was one of the least expected things to come out of 2020 for me, but here we are. But yeah, I'm really into trucking simulators now. Particularly American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator 2. Both of which you can find on Steam. Like, I don't know, for some weird reason, I just find these games to be, like, strangely soothing. You know, I mean, I guess maybe it's just the state of things. Again, maybe it's just the state of things today. But, like, I don't know, in a weird way, it's a nice little escapist thing. And it's not like even one of these big fantasy games. You're literally just driving a truck from point A to point B. You know, going on, like, you know, in real time, if you wanted to go from, like, say, Seattle to, like, some random New Mexico town, it'd probably take you about, like, an hour and a half real time. So yeah, these things, they're a real time sink, but it's a really good time sink. I don't know. You have to play it in order to really understand. You know, and it could be especially relaxing if you have some music or a podcast playing in the background or something as you're driving. Now, American Truck Simulator, unfortunately does not have, all of the United States included yet. It has pretty much all of the West Coast, and it's kind of starting to sort of build out towards the Midwest. As of this recording, SCS Studios, who are the developers of these games, are currently working on the Colorado expansion. I at least hope they make it out to the East Coast at least relatively soon, as I'd like to be able to drive across the virtual United States in a big rig before I die. Well, not before I die, but at least before I hit my 30s. That would be nice. Euro Truck Simulator is a lot larger than American Truck Simulator, as in it has much more of Europe. As in, Euro Truck Simulator has much more of Europe than American Truck Simulator has America. Although with that being said, it does have some notable absences, particularly Spain and some other Eastern European countries. Also, for some weird reason, a large portion, like pretty much a large half of France, as well as Italy, is DLC for some reason. Don't ask me why that is, but it's whatever. You know, regardless, it is a nice way of seeing the world when you're stuck in quarantine. Now, I do wonder, though, how they're gonna... Now, back to American Truck Simulator, I do wonder how they're going to implement the East Coast if they get to it. I say if because rumor has it that the developers might not even do the East Coast, which I really hope isn't the case, as, for one, I'm from the East Coast, particularly the Northeast, and two, again, I want to drive across the whole United States in a virtual truck. Come on. There is a racing game called The Crew that came out a few years ago that lets you do that. It has like the second largest driving world map ever, and it's basically just like the whole United States. I think there is a sequel to The Crew, but I haven't really looked into that. And it takes you about 2 hours in real time to cross the whole map in The Crew. But in truck simulators, it can take you about 2 hours to drive from like the northernmost part of the map all the way down to the bottom. Like, that's how big this game is. Like, if you wanted to go from like the top of Idaho to like Arizona, yeah, it can take you a while. So yeah, these are pretty huge, and for the most part, tends to be pretty accurate to its real-life counterpart. So to be able to drive across, so to be able to drive across the U.S. in a map that would probably be like the most to scale out of any driving game ever. I mean, at least driving games, maybe even in general. I don't know. It'd be pretty legendary. So, with that being said, I do have a request to, anybody that's listening to this who is able to do so. Please, buy American Truck Simulator. And before any of you say anything, SCS isn't paying me to say this. I just want to give them some financial incentive to finish the map. Guys, seriously, I need this more than you might realize. And if on the off chance anybody from SCS is listening to this, please finish the map. I mean, take your time, of course, but please, take your time. Please. Yeah, like, just finish the map, at least the East Coast. If nothing else, do, like, the Northeast, please. Like, from Maine to, you know, maybe at least southeastern Pennsylvania, at the very least. So I can at least, you know... Yeah. So... take the truck pill, ladies and gentlemen. Please. You'll be doing yourself some good. Well, I think that just about does it for the second episode of Dave Time. Thank you all for listening to this 45-minute, rambling of sorts. I keep wanting to... The original plan for this show was that each episode was going to be like an hour each, but these past 2 episodes so far have been around 45 minutes or so, which I don't really know how to take that. Maybe it's just a sign from the universe that this show was really just meant to go 45 minutes and nowhere else. So, I mean, yeah, take that as you will. But you know, I hope you enjoyed it. I did try to get a bit more experimental with this second episode, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. You know, with the added in sound bits and everything, and some different music here and there, since I thought it could use some shaking up. So, yeah, thanks for listening, and, not really quite sure how to end things, so, you know what? Have a song. I'm leaving. Goodbye, and see you in the next episode.